wonderful evening. Thank you so much for having me tonight on Thrive. I'm so excited to be here. So I'll just make sure we've got everything working. We've got our live, we've got our video, and we've got our microphone on. So we're all good to go tonight. So for anyone who doesn't know me, my name's Leanne Carriers. I'm a Feng Shui practitioner in Queensland, and we also run the Feng Shui store and more here in Queensland as well. It's fully online, and we practice all through Australia and actually internationally as well. So it's really good to be here with you tonight. Tonight I'm going to be sharing with you and talking to you about the reclaiming the energy of your home for the year of the ox. Oops, there goes my phone. We'll just pop that up there for the year of the ox. So, and we're going to be doing that with Feng Shui. So anyone who doesn't know Feng Shui, if anyone's already heard me speaking, I'm just going to read back a little bit so that we can just give you a bit of an idea about what Feng Shui is and how we work with the energy in your home and how that all works. So when we're talking about the energy of your home, we're talking about qi. And qi is, if you imagine you're standing at your front door and you're a breeze that's going to blow through your house or your place of work or wherever you're looking at working with the energy, then you just imagine that you're that breeze trying to get through your home. So just see yourself at your front door and how that is for you to go and flow through your entire house. Now, it's really important that it flows even through the areas that we don't have the most positive qi. So we've got good qi and we've got negative qi, and it's like anything, there is a balance, yin and yang. And it's also about the fact that, we're never going to have the perfect home, but it's working with the energy that is going to support us and prosper with us, and then reducing the energy that we've got that's not so good for us, like our unwellness qi and things like that. So what we do is just we pretend that we're that breeze and we're going to go through your entire home. And we look at areas where you're going to get stuck or where qi won't flow. And they're generally the areas where we've got negative or stuck qi. So I'm going to share a slide presentation with you tonight, and we're going to go through a little bit more about what Feng Shui is and how that works, but also about the very basis of Feng Shui, which is the 5 elements. Every Feng Shui Bagua starts with these 5 elements. They are crucial to how we work with energy, because using those elements, we either enhance, reduce, the energy that we either enhance the energy that we want, we reduce the energy that we don't want. I'm just going to keep an eye on this in case there's any messages from you or questions. And then but we don't want to control the elements that are there. So I'm just going to share this with you now. So 5 elements. So the other thing about Feng Shui is Feng means wind and Shui means water. So it is we look at abundance as it covers all things. It's not just money. It's everything. It's like our health, our wealth, and our relationships. So it's about having harmony around those. I'm not a huge advocate for the word balance, because I think that it's so difficult to have everything in balance. But if we can create harmony around that, then that gives us a better sense of we're coping and we've achieved the energy that we want. So when we look at the lux of Feng Shui, we've got the karmic lux, and then we've got 3 of those. So we've got our heaven lux, which is our gifts, our talents, the things that we've been given, either universally or for whatever that word is for you, that you've gained your abilities, that it's like sometimes we say our God-given gifts. It's the things that we're born with, the things that are innate in us that we are able to do, things that we're really good and skilled at. Then we've got our earth luck, which is where our Feng Shui comes into it. Our Feng Shui is our earth luck, but it's also about where we live. it's the countries we're living in, it's the circumstances that we have, it's the places that we live. So, you know, it's really important that we take that into consideration. The other thing is our Ren luck, which is our human luck. This is really, really important. This is probably the most important one out of all of it when we're working with Feng Shui energy. And that is because unless we take action with what we have been given, so if we don't use the skills and the gifts that we've been given, and we don't take action to do something with those, or grab the opportunities that are coming in on the wind and that into our home and into the positive energy, then we're probably not going to get very far. And I always say that the big thing is that our human luck is actually what I call the get off the couch luck. It's if you need to move, you need to do something, you need to become active, and you need to embrace what it is that's been sent your way. So it's really, really important. And then, of course, we have our universal chi, which is things like our chi mandunja and things like that. So how do we know when our energy is stuck? So generally, most people, and I would assume that so many of you here would have a sense of knowing what energy is like and what it feels like. But if you're new to working with energy and feeling energy in a home, it's the areas where you would have the most clutter. It's the areas where things are feeling stuck and stagnant. It's the areas where you might be sleeping and feel that you don't get a good night's sleep. You might feel that you don't wake up well rested. You might constantly be unwell. Financially, money might come in and money might go out. And that could be for a lot of reasons as well, I know, but in general, it is a lot to do with our feng shui of our home. If we are not sure where our money energy is in our house, then our money, we might not be actually utilizing that. So you may actually have a really good source of money in your house, but if you don't know that that's where that energy is and you're not activating it and using that and the opportunities there, then you're not being gifted that energy. So it's when you just feel like, sometimes you just feel like you're stuck, you can't move, you're just, you know, you're just unable to move. So you can't really, you're tired, it just doesn't feel right, or there's constant disagreements or arguments or conflict and that type of thing. So the other thing is just checking on messages here to see if you've got any questions, that's all. Hello Alicia, thank you, that's lovely. I think that the easiest way when you're working with Feng Shui is to take one space at a time. It's not a good idea to change too many spaces at once, because then you don't know what's actually worked or what energy is working for you. So it's better not to shift too many things or make too many changes at once. I work with compass feng shui, so traditional classical feng shui. So everything we do is from a compass, which is why no two homes are ever the same. The energy in each home is very individual. But if you're trying to work with what I'm saying with you now and you don't know what your compass direction is, then look for the east where the sun rises or the west where the sun sets, and just work with your main cardinals like your north, south, east or west. And that will get you started on your feng shui journey if you're new to feng shui and you're not quite sure how to go with that. What I'm talking about tonight is not, the information I'm going to give you tonight is going to be about the elements which you can use throughout your entire home, and I'll talk to you about the different areas. But I want you to bear in mind, this is not your full home bagua. So when you birth your home or you move into your home, and it's the first time you've been in it, then it is a birthing of the home, and that home will have a bagua, which is from the period that it was built. It will be the direction that it's facing and the sitting of it, and it will have a series of numbers. And those numbers all equate to different, I guess, energies and combinations of energies. There's 81 different combinations that we work with to actually help you get your home set for the perfect energy for you. So tonight we're going to talk in general terms, because I guess this is for anyone who's starting their Feng Shui journey. It's also good if you do have your home Bagua already done and you understand about the elements, then this might be just a little refresher for you on how those energies are going to work for you. So the elements are, as a lot of us will know, are fire, earth, metal, water, and wood. They're the 5 elements, and how they interact with each other is how we look at how that energy works. So the 5 shapes, so if we're talking the fire element, then the shape of the triangle is the energy for that. So anything that's a triangle shape represents the fire element. And it's also the color red, which is fire as well. And I will talk a bit more about colors and what else you can use for the elements in a minute. Earth is square shaped. So it's, and it does represent the earth. Round is metal. Our water is a wavy shape. So anything wavy, glass, like wavy glass shapes, things like that is water. And wood is a rectangle shape. Okay. So the fire element. The fire element is predominantly, red is a very, very strong. So fire and water are our 2 strongest elements. And this resides in the south of our home from just the basic Bagua. So when we're talking about, or we say to you, add the fire element. So at the end of this, I'll be saying, I'm going to give you a run through of what May has got coming for you. And if I talk to you about, let's put some fire element into an area, then you want to actually have that so that you add some red in, or you could add some candles. Candles are very, very strong chi, and so are fire. So I don't use a lot of candles. I find them very, very strong chi. But if you're looking to put something in, candles would represent the fire element. But it's generally anything that's red, anything that's triangle shape, or anything that is a burning flame would represent. Barbecues are also a fire element. Your stove is a fire element as well. So if we're looking at the earth element, it is anything, of course, which is earth, which is our pottery, our stones, our soils, our dirt, anything like that. But it's our creams, beiges, through to our, then through to that, I'm sorry, I'm just going to shift this little thing here for a minute so I can see that. It's anything to go from our creams through to our beige. It's not our whites, it's our cream colors, and through to our tans, our mustards, and our beiges. Now, our yellows we use when we're talking about the Emperor's Chi, which is to work with the yellow earth energy. So if I talk to you about the Emperor's Chi, it is where we want to bring in the yellow color to appease the Emperor. So it's those sort of textures. It's anything textury that's earth, that's woven, basketry, all that type of thing are very, very strong in earth. If we look at the metal element, it's anything round. And of course, metal coins are the easiest thing that we can place in an area when we're talking about metal element. It's coins, it's anything that's made from metal, it's jewelry pieces, it's our cars, it's strong elements of it, piping, that type of thing. It's our whites and our greys, through ranges of greys and our whites that are actually classed as the colors for our metal element. Our water element is glass. Anything that's glass is classed as a water element, water naturally. And then our blue, so anything in the blue ranges. The teals go, when we're looking at trying to blend a water and a wood element, then we'll actually use them as the teal in that color, at that time. So they're all the colors that you can use, and it's wavy. Anything wavy is classed as a water element. Our wood element, of course, is wood. It's trees, it's plants. It's not as strong as fire or as water, but it has the element of anything that's made from timber, and anything that's tall and rectangular, all our greens, and again our teals is going to be a crossover between our water and our green, our wood element. So our enhancing, so if I wanted you to enhance the earth energy, I might say to you, add some fire element in. So it might be put in some red cushions. And look, there are lots of products on the market, and yes, we have a retail space and we sell products, but there are lots of things that you can do to enhance those products, as those areas, elements as well. Things like towels, cushions, rugs, lampshades, anything like that. You can bring those elements in and they'll actually support the element that you want to enhance. So if I said to you, we need to add some fire into this area, it would be bring in some red tea towels or red towels or anything like that. If I wanted you to bring some metal element in to maybe enhance our water energy, then it could be a wind chime, it could be a bowl of coins, and things like that. So enhancing it is anything that brings and makes that energy stronger. So as we know, fire creates earth. Earth, then metal is created in the earth. And then there's water. And then, of course, water makes wood grow, and wood then in turn generates the fire. So that's our growth or our enhancing energy. In our reducing energy, it's the opposite. So if we want to reduce down, we use fire to reduce wood. We use wood because it absorbs water. Water reduces metal, metal reduces earth, and then of course earth puts out the flame. So they're the energies that we use to reduce energy. So when we're talking about enhancing or reducing, it's enhancing, and then reducing is the opposite way. Now, controlling is something that we don't like to do very often, because controlling actually can make things more agitated. So we don't want to control earth with wood. We don't want to control metal with fire. We don't want to control earth with water, or water with fire. So we prefer not to use those energies. There's always a way that we can enhance or reduce an element, to try not. And often when we're working with a home, you'll find the energy is quite agitated and aggravated. It's because another element is controlling it. There's too much of something. So you may have a home that has lots and lots of timber furniture, but if we don't have a little bit of fire in there sometimes, then that can be too strong, and then it can actually control the earth element if it's for the earth energy that we're wanting to use. Our tashi, our center, is represented by the earth element, and that represents our entire home. It's the energy that affects everybody who lives in that house. So it's the whole of house, what's going on in the center of the home, and it is predominantly and traditionally known as the earth center. So it represents earth. And it's the energy that we want to balance the most and bring harmony to the most, because, as I said, it affects the entire home. Again, we've got the earth element. I think we're going, okay. So I'll put an extra slide in there. So when we talk about products in Feng Shui, there are certain products that we do talk about that are traditional, that have been used for centuries, that have a reason and a purpose. Now, they're probably not as known today, because we're in the Western world, because we don't, and times have changed, absolutely. But there are certain things that we do use in our homes. And when I say to people about using products in their home, make sure that you have a product that has meaning, if it carries a mantra or a spiritual purpose, then they have a much stronger significance in your home than just placing a vase or something like that. The energies that we're using, if I wanted to actually enhance the metal energy, I might bring in something like a temple line to protect the front door or the front of the house, but I'm using it because it's of the metal element. I might use fulu and shu, which is down the bottom there, that picture, because they represent longevity, they represent success, and they represent families and relationships. So they represent the three wise men. They represent the intentions that I want for my home. So when I'm placing something, so like a coin frog placed at your front door is not going to bring you in abundance or anything like that if you just sit on the couch and you do nothing towards it. You need to do something towards that making it. But when you place it with intention, the reason why you're placing it, every time you walk in and you see that product, it's going to remind you of the intention that you set for that. So it's really, really important that you actually think about why you're putting something in your home. You certainly don't need to have a lot of Chinese products in your home for Feng Shui to work for you. We work with a lot of interior designers and in some magnificent homes, and I can assure you that their homes are fully Feng Shui without having to have everything from a Chinese store. They have homes that are very modern, very flowing, and the energy is beautiful. But they still have some cures that are tucked away that you wouldn't even recognize in their home. And that's the beauty of Feng Shui. It's using the elements. And when we work with the elements, we can do so much more in a home and balance out that energy. Chinli Kuntian is one of my most favorite words. It is about clearing space, and I use this all the time. Feng Shui needs space to move. Feng Shui needs room to flow. So we need to make sure, and I know it's a big hot topic these days about clutter and things in our home, but at the end of the day, if you love it and if it has purpose and meaning for you, then I don't say to anyone that it needs to go. But if chi and energy can't flow through your space, then you're not going to get the benefit of what it could bring to you. So think about the things that you have, and again, do that breeze at your front door and work through each room and through each space and think about what's there and what you can and make it easier to move for you to have that chi flow. And we'll be doing some more work on how to do those sort of things through Feng Shui and move things that you no longer need, and how we work through that from a Feng Shui perspective as well in the coming months. If you would like more help with this as well, you can go on to, there'll be some links in the comments for you as well tonight, which are some offers that we've got for you, but also links to be able to get my download, PDF download, which has all the items and the elements that you need for this year for the year of the ox. So it's the areas of the house, so the north, south, east, west, plus the subsidiaries. And it's actually got in there the elements and the colors and that we would like you to use and be able to use in the house. Now, it is generic. It is a generic template for you to use, but it is about getting you started on your Feng Shui journey along the way. So I'm just going to check that we've got any, and I see that link's just been popped up in there for you. So you'll be able to get access to that download and everything in there. So I want to talk to you about May and what's coming in May. I'll just keep an eye on that time. We've got some time. So I want to talk to you about what's coming in May. Now, in May, we have the unwellness chi arriving. So we have a yearly energy, and then each month we have an energy that arrives as well. And last time I was here, I was talking about the April energy. Well, now I'm going to talk to you about what's coming in May. And in May, in the center of our homes, and what's going to affect our homes is going to be the unwellness chi. Now, this isn't as strong as what it normally would be if it was in a fire element area of a house like the south. It's in the center, but it's also mixed with the heavenly chi. So it's not as strong, but it does mean that there's still going to be some unwellness in the air around us this month, and probably for a little bit longer. But in May, we need to be careful of the entire house. It's not just the north area of our home, it's the entire home, and it's everyone within our home. So a good thing to do there would be to place, have some metal element there, which again would be a bowl of coins, your wealth bowl in the center. this year is really, really important. And it's very good to have that there. So put yourself a bowl of metal coins. If you have a hulu, that's really good too. Put that there. A hulu is what we use for our to reduce down the unwellness chi that we have. Good idea if you've got a bed or anything in the north to have one of those beside you in the north as well. So if we go to the southeast where our Empress chi is, then this month is going to be a little bit kinder to us. There's a blend of heavenly chi that's going in there. So it's a little bit gentler, but it's still an area you don't want to do any construction work, and you don't want to do anything that's going to move the dirt or earth. So no gardening in there, no putting in a pool or anything like that. If for any reason that you have to do some renovation work, please jump on and get one of my 30-minute free sessions with me, and I would be more than happy to talk with you about how to work through that. The South this month has awesome chi. So we've not only got our noble star in there, but we actually have also energy of the heavenly chi. So this is a really, really important area. Very important if you have a business that is around your reputation and your expertise. And if you have an office there, that's going to be great chi. So make sure you use that energy. The Southwest represents the head matriarch of the home. And we've had it a little bit tougher this year around communication with the quarrelsome chi in there. So this month we've got a little bit of extra energy that's going to be nice to us because we've got the current wealth energy. So with that energy, we want to try and utilize that by using that area to use opportunities and that might be coming. It's very good if we're doing anything for skills or learning, but still be careful. We still have that energy of the conflict chi. So you still might want a little bit of fire element in there. I wouldn't put a lot, but you want a little bit. The West has got our creativity in there. Be careful of young kids that are in the West this month coming up in May, because that energy is not really very good for children, and it can cause injuries and accidents to happen. So just watch kids that are in that space. But from a creative energy, it's very, very good for us to use. It also represents romance. So just be careful. It's strong energy this month. So just make sure that if you're in a committed relationship that you don't have any others in that relationship if you don't want them, because that energy is very strong. The Northwest, where our patriarch is this month, is going to be energy that is a bit, it's not quite as strong, but it's going to have some conflict chi in there. So they still need to be careful. Communication is still going to be the biggest thing for this year, is being able to communicate adequately and properly with our partners. Also be careful of signing anything and make sure that if your office is there, it is good chi if you're in the legal industry or legal areas. It's very good for you in that respect, because the 7 actually supports that and will help that. So if you're going, but be careful you don't end up in a legal issue as well. Again, be careful of your home security and be careful of sharp objects. In the north this month, we've got a little bit of a reprieve on our health because we have the 7 chi there. So we need to, it's going to be affecting our career. So it won't be as strong as our wellness chi that we've had, but because the 7 actually reduces down the energy that we've got there because it's a metal element. But you want to keep your hulu there and just be careful. Put a wind chime in if you don't already have one there into the north, but just be careful of your home security and anything sharp. So anyone who's in the career or industries that uses sharp objects, be careful of injuries and just watch out for anything that's sharp metal. The northeast, which has been a beautiful energy for us this year that we've relished and we've enjoyed being in, has got the Empress chi. And the Empress chi is that chi that's not very good for us. So that's the energy. You want to make sure there's no flames in that area. You want to make sure that there's no reds and fire colors in there. You want to bring in some yellows, and it's that yellow earth color that I was talking about earlier, and metal. So a bowl of coins, and it can be any coins. It can be international money. It can be Chinese auspicious coins. It can just be a whole coin collection that you have. It's just a bowl of coins. And put that into there for this month. It's an area you don't want to use a lot. You want to keep it quieter. The East is creativity. So if you're writing a book, if you're a designer, if you're writing a script, if you're a painter, anything that uses creative energy, this is the space to use this month. It is very, very good for you. It's the area that where we can get in and we can be as creative as we want. So if your business is creative industries, or if you're someone who's a creative, then that is beautiful energy to use. The other thing I should mention is the Northwest has got completion energy. So anything that you need to complete or you want to get completed, that's the energy that's in that space. So it's a good place to get things finished in. And so I'll just check that we've got, just keep an eye on, make sure we haven't got any questions happening here. And so, oh, that's good. Thank you. So that's the energy of our house. Now, also, I just want to mention, if you are looking at and you're not sure about the energy of your home, and if you've got things that are going on and you're not sure about what's happening there, please jump on the link and get your free 30 minutes with me. I'm more than happy to talk to you about how the energy of this year is going, and if you've got any areas that I can help you with, then I'm more than happy to do that. So just look at for Mother's Day coming, look where you're going to entertain and where you're having a group of people. The Northeast is not the area, or the Northwest. The South areas are much, much nicer this coming month for us to be having friends, family, entertaining. So, the East, the South, those sort of areas. If you can't move your family gathering from the Northeast or the Northwest or that northern area, then just make sure you've got your cures in place. So jump on and grab that PDF that I've got there, which talks about the elements. You'll be able to join our newsletter, where every month I give you the monthly updates of what's happening. So make sure you jump on there and you can get that. You're welcome to use that, because each month that energy moves and changes. And, I really want to make sure that you have got the best chi that you can have for your own success. So jump on there and you'll use those services. They're there for you to use, and I'm more than happy for you to use them. So I can't think of anything else to share with you on that now. So that's the monthly energies that are coming up. We've talked about the elements. Next month, I'll love to talk to you more about further steps and the next steps in Feng Shui and your journey in Feng Shui. And if you have a house plan, then, bring it along, because if you get the directions, then it makes it easier for you to follow along with what we're talking about. And we'll talk about more about the yearly energies and what's happening there as well, so that each month you know what's coming for you and what's going to be happening for you. So I'll just do a quick check here again, and okay, that's all good. All right then, well, thank you so much for having me here tonight and for letting me share with you. If you have any questions or anything, just pop them in the comments. I will review it again once the replay's up as well. So if you've got any other questions when you're watching the replay, just pop replay in there, and then I'll know to answer your questions that you've got in there. And I thank you very much. Have a lovely evening, and thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you.